we should do an in-person event. This is going to be awesome. And so we literally like sat down and we were like, who will take us? Right? Because there's still a lot of states that were shut down.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, what do you know? Nashville, Tennessee just welcomed Girls with Grit with open arms. And so we one of like our little like quotes is we shared a bank account before we had ever met in person. I mean, that was like the level of like haul ass we were with our business at that time. And we just said we were going to just throw this event and we put it out there. And then like all of a sudden, like almost 100 women wanted to come and we were like, oh, I guess we're doing this. Right. And so we went to the Graduate Hotel and we had an in-person event. And that, I mean, literally, it was scary, right? Because it was like, first of all, we were way going against the grain at that point in time. Like, I mean,
welcome to the Cheplak Live podcast, where I sit down only with proven business leaders who take you behind the curtain of what they're doing to grow their business. And along the way, they're going to share with you some of the mistakes that they made so that you can do in 1 month what took them many, many years. And I am so excited to welcome Tara Lauren and Jamie, AKA the Girls with Grit. Welcome, ladies.
oh my gosh, we actually have names on your podcast.
Yeah.
Usually we just get introduced as Girls with Grit. Everywhere we go, it's like, oh, there's the Girls with Grit.
Yeah.
Well, and that just jumps right into it. Such a great job you guys have done in branding. And so I want to let everyone know who's watching and listening. Typically, what you're watching and are listening to is you're talking to real estate team leaders, broker owners, top producers, which all three of these ladies are very, very high performing individual agents. But today what we're going to do is we're going to unpack a remarkable business growth trajectory in the coaching space. And for a few reasons. I know that these ladies are they're contributors. I've known them for a couple of years now. And I think there's two parts to it. They can share behind the curtain. We'll share behind the curtain what they've done that like everyone in our industry wants to do. And everyone's a pretty sweeping commentary, but everyone wants to be a coach. And we can laugh about it. We're not joking about it, but we sort of are. Everyone wants to be a coach. So, you're going to hear what they have done, okay, along the way to build this business and the impact they're having. So let's start with this. Each one of you still have, there's no had, individual businesses. You were doing really, really well. What brought this all together? Take me back to the beginning and how this all started.
Well, can I just start by saying that not everybody wants to be a coach? And the reason I'm saying that is because the three of us had absolutely zero plans of being coaches. Okay. So this is like a coaching business that was built accidentally, or like by demand. I don't even know. I feel like that's a fair way to say it, but we found each other, in 2021, and it was like during COVID and nobody really knew what the heck was going on still. And the market had kind of gone gangbusters, but then like you still couldn't show houses. There was just all this weird stuff going on. And the three of us have, I mean, as you mentioned, we've all been in the business a really long time. And so we just kind of wanted to share. I mean, we were seeing huge success and we wanted to share that with other people. And, we saw some of the girls that we knew struggling. And so we wanted to share like what was working for us. How are we getting around, things, or how are we working through obstacles? And so we started like on Clubhouse. It was when Clubhouse was awesome.
Oh,
And
no
I don't even know if
way.
that's still a thing, but it was then. And so we, started doing Tuesday night Clubhouse chats, and we would just talk like, I had my wine and we would just talk about like the little things. But as we did that, we saw that there was such a need for coaching and leadership and guidance kind of in that gap space, where every brokerage has like this great training program for brand new agents, like the first year. But then after that, it's like nobody really pays attention to the training piece of it anymore. And so we wanted to we found that we were really great at that. And then I think something else that we found commonality in, that was surprising to each of us when we hit this. But when you build a very big business, especially as a female, um, there's a lot of emotions and judgment and obstacles. There's all this just stuff, like this gross stuff that comes with it. And I think, everybody has this idea like, oh, I want to sell 100 houses a year, or I want to be a 7-figure agent, or whatever it is. But they don't realize the ridicule and the judgment that comes with that, and how difficult it can be to like manage. And so that's part of the reason that we started Girls with Grit, because and I said this from stage at our last event, but it's like, unfortunately, when a guy goes out and builds a really big business, he's like celebrated, right? It's like, oh my gosh, like he's so amazing. Look at him. He's jet setting everywhere and he's changing the world. And look at all the lives he's impacting. And I mean, sometimes women are even like, gosh, maybe they wish that was their husband out there doing that and being this awesome provider. But when a woman does it, it's like this automatic, like, oh, like she must be an awful mom. Like, does she even know what's going on at her kid's school? And
Mhm.
that was really surprising to us. And we wanted to be kind of a lighthouse for women, specifically in the industry, where they could go out and, see other women succeeding the way that we have, and still being able to like be great moms, be present spouses, like showing up for the soccer games. And so, I mean, that's kind of how Girls with Grit started.
Yeah.
Wow. How, so let's go here. Let's go even back further. I'll start with you on this one, Lauren. What is it that attracted you to these two ladies? What did you see in them that maybe, what did you see in
She's a
them?
stalker.
Soccer.
Okay.
Well, I don't really feel like I had a choice, really. It was like, no. Honestly, like Tara had mentioned, it was COVID. We were all like, we felt it was lonely. It's still lonely. It's a lonely business, and especially as women, and like to Tara's point, there is a struggle. There's an inner struggle. There's like a thing that like I can't be all things to all people, and I'm just not good at anything because I'm spread too thin. And like as a woman, that you feel like you're the only one going through that. So I think that was like a real pivotal thing for us, especially during that time. And really that hasn't changed. Just for people to feel like, hey, I'm not alone in their space, and other people and even high achievers still have that like inner struggle, right? So I think that has been kind of a pillar in our community, just to be transparent about that. But to answer your question, Jamie, I met Jamie in a marketing. We were a part of like some marketing groups, and I was just like, oh, this girl's kind of smart. She was always kind of like,
Kinda.
yeah, she's kind of smart. She's always
And
kind of
no
cool.
personality.
Oh, no, she has zero personality. No, I'm kidding. But she was kind of on the cutting edge. And honestly, for me, in my marketing background, I've always kind of been the one that wanted to be a little bit different, right? I always want people to be like, huh, she actually said that out loud, and it didn't sound like everybody else. And so there were things that I was watching Jamie do back then that I was like, oh, I can really identify with this girl. So I just reached out to her through our brokerage workplace. And I was like, actually, no. I saw that she had on Instagram those cute little Giphies. And at the
My
time,
branded.
nobody else was doing the branded ones. And she had one that was like, Jamie sells Raleigh, and she's dancing and it's all like cute. And I'm like, well, I'm going to just reach out to this girl because I have no problem reaching out to anybody. I don't care. And so I just said, hey, girl, where and I found out she was with my brokerage. So I reached out to her on Workplace and said, hey, like, where'd you get those Giphies? Honestly, that's how this whole thing came together. Me being like, hey, girl, where'd you get those Giphies?
She hey girled me, and apparently it worked out pretty well for us a few
I
years later.
totally hey girled her. And then
Whole new meeting of sliding into your DMs. Like,
yeah, I slid in there. So Jamie and I became friends, and we honestly at that time we were like, we should do a podcast. We should do a Carolina Homegirls. You're in Raleigh, I'm in Charlotte. Like, we should just do this thing. And then we met Tara, and then the whole thing just blew up, because when you get all three brains together, it's just like it's
Mhm.
we're off to the races. And we met Tara through our brokerage and some mutual friends, and And honestly, that, it's been awesome. It's just been so God ordained. Like, we look back and we could have never planned it. I think had we known in the beginning how big this was going to get and how hard this was going to be, because let's be honest, we work our butts off. We probably would have been scared to death and just not done it, to be honest. But because we built it the way we built it, and we've just shown up and like met the community where they're at versus trying to plan a coaching program and then fit the community inside, like it was the opposite. It's worked to our benefit and it's been great. So
That's awesome. Jamie, I want to go here with you. Personalities. You ladies are pistols. And there's so many sayings out there that are BS. They say the worst type of ship is a partnership. And I have again known you ladies for a couple of years now, and I've had the opportunity to watch you interact. Not only if we jump on a Zoom, but also like in the theater. I would ask you twofold. How do three strong personalities, do you three ladies work together, serving the vision, and in a way that you stay inspired? How do you do it? But also, what advice would you give to other people that are considering a partnership? What should they look for? And maybe what are some things they have to be able to give up to make it happen?
Yeah, truthfully, I could not have done this by myself. Like, I'm just going to say that right now. Neither one of us could have done this without each other. These girls have become my absolute best friends. They know all the good things about me and all the bad things about me, and love me and accept me and smack me around when I need it, and vice versa, truthfully. I think going into this, I wasn't sure what to expect about a partnership. And you truly don't know somebody until you get into business with them, right? Like, and you know this because you have lots of different partnerships, but it's like you actually see people's work ethic. You actually get a peek behind the curtain of like, well, are they really going to go all in? Like, I'm willing to go all in. And that's the hardest part about business is like, you want everyone to be at the same level of wanting this and doing this, because you say this all the time, like, work works when you work. And so sometimes it's like, that's the hardest piece of partnership. Like, are they willing to work as hard as I am? But I'll tell you one thing, these girls make me better. Like, I know I have to show up not only for me, I have to show up for them. And if I said I was going to do something, I have to do it, right? As a solo agent, it's so easy in my real estate business to be like, I have to do this today. And then like let it slide a little bit. There's no letting it slide. There's like so much accountability with a partnership of like, we're running fast and we have to move this together, and we all need to be running at the same speed or it's just not going to work. And I think that's the hardest part, is realizing that you need to be all in. And if you're not all in with your partnership, like, it's just never going to work. Now, don't get me wrong. There's times where we argue like sisters and we freaking piss each other off, and we all are strong personality types, but like, there's a lot of grace there too. And we love each other truly. And there's a lot of mutual respect. I think that's the pillar of our relationship, is we respect each other a lot. We all have our own real estate businesses. We're all moms. We're all married. And we have a underlying understanding that our family and our kids will always come first. And so there's just this unspoken thing of like, yeah, that's our number one, but showing up for each other. So my advice, if you're looking to start a partnership, it's really hard. It's kind of like this. When you get married, you don't know the type of spouse that you're truly marrying and what type of parent they're going to be if you choose to have kids until they're actually a parent, right? It's the same thing in business and partnerships. You don't know how much that person's willing to show up until you're actively trying and doing it. And I do believe that's why a lot of businesses and partnerships fail, is because you don't know until you actually are in the weeds with somebody. So I honestly say, like, try it. Like, what's the worst thing that happens? You fail. Okay, you tried it, you failed, move on and pivot and try something else with someone else. But thankfully it worked out with the two of these girls. And I'm just grateful to have this opportunity because they've changed my life.
It's really good. I want to just restate for everyone that's listening and watching some things that stand out. What she said humility. She said respect. She said accountability. She talked about values that match. And the kicker, and I know this from my experience too, is work ethic. That is the big one, big time. Really good. So we started playing around on Clubhouse. I remember that thing. I logged in once and that was it.
Good for
I'm
you.
old school. You guys, like, I'm an old dude. Like, I'm 57, man. I'm like, nope. My wife still laughs at me. And you girls are pals with my wife. She says, you're old. You got paper everywhere. What's with all the paper everywhere?
I love Brittany.
So Clubhouse, we started. What was the first big scary step that you guys took or maybe it wasn't, hey, let's test this or let's try this, or was it this, hey, we're gonna jump off the cliff and we're gonna build the plane as we go and we're doing an event? What was the first thing that you did outside of Clubhouse?
All right, well, picture this, John. Picture this.
Oh, here we
It's
go.
the middle of COVID and you can't get in anybody's houses, right? And so we're like writing offers on the backs of people's trunks. I mean, this is like the life we were in right then, right? And the three of us, we had gotten, we'd done the Clubhouse thing. We finally were like, we should like actually save all these, recordings that we're doing and these calls that we're doing. So we're going to create a Facebook group because then we can save them. And then we were like, you know what we should do? We should do an in-person event. This is going to be awesome. And so we literally like sat down and we were like, who will take us? Right? Because there's still a lot of states that were shut down.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, what do you know? Nashville, Tennessee just welcomed Girls with Grit with open arms. And so we one of like our little like quotes is we shared a bank account before we had ever met in person. I mean, that was like the level of like haul ass we were with our business at that time. And we just said we were going to just throw this event and we put it out there. And then like all of a sudden, like almost 100 women wanted to come and we were like, oh, I guess we're doing this. Right. And so we went to the Graduate Hotel and we had an in-person event. And that, I mean, literally, it was scary, right? Because it was like, first of all, we were way going against the grain at that point in time. Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
that was
to
a
the point
naughty
where,
move.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
this is
We
this,
were here
let me
for
just
it
tell you
though.
the level. So
No,
we legit,
duh.
John, we had Girls with Grit branded masks made for the event
So bad.
because
Not that we
were
wore
like,
them,
well,
but
hell,
they
we're
were
gonna like,
available.
we're just gonna
Of
do
course
this,
not.
right?
Well, you know what, Tara? Also, the crazy part was we didn't know what the hell we were doing. We're like, let's just have an event. It's fun. They only allowed us to sell 100 tickets because, again, hi, COVID, and there was restrictions on how many people. But we like launched our very first like product, soft launched it at that event. John, we were taking payments via Venmo. We didn't even know how to set
A
up a
personal
landing.
Venmo, not even a
Personal
business
Venmo.
Venmo.
We didn't know what we were doing. But we did
Did
it.
you,
That's the
so,
thing.
and
We
were you
showed up.
selling it before before it was packaged up and ready to go?
Yeah.
I mean, you
Well,
had the
yeah.
intellectual asset, but it wasn't
Yeah.
like, here it is ready to go. You sell it before you had it?
Pretty much. I mean, we had it like because we were like putting it together, but it was one of the things that we were teaching
Putting it
at the event.
together. I want you guys to hear that. We were putting it together, you guys that are getting
Yeah.
ready to get
We just
ready
did
with
it.
your business.
Yeah. We had
We
zero.
ended up
Okay, so
selling-
this is the thing. It was the middle of the night before, because we were like going through what we were going to teach the next day. We had just come home from like our long dinner and all that. And we're like, this is what we're going to do. And we were like, you know what? Like, let's just like, I bet we could just sell this here. Like, let's just see what's the worst thing that happens, right? Like nobody buys it. John, I think we had an 88 or 90% conversion rate in the room on that product. And I think all but 3 people by the time we got home ended up buying it. And that was like, that was our listing system.
And we didn't have Kajabi set up yet. And so me and Lauren were actually slated to go to another event on the heels of this event. So we flew to that event while Tara's in the background freaking setting up Kajabi, like figuring it out, building the plane as we fly. Like, we've sold all this product. Now we better put it in the dashboard so they have access to it. Like literally that's how our very first product launch happened.
Wow. And just so everyone knows, in starting out, right? And did you guys charge for that first event? If so, how much was it?
Tickets were like $197 or something like that.
Yeah,
Um,
something like that.
And that
Yeah.
was 3 years ago?
yeah, 2021.
Okay, good. 3 years ago. And then how much was the product you were selling then?
$297.
97.
97.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it
Well,
was
we
worth
gave
a
them
lot
special
more.
pricing. We gave
Yeah.
them special pricing at the event of $297, and then later launched it to the entire Facebook group for like $997.
You
Yeah.
did?
Yeah.
Really good. Okay,
Yeah.
good. And then from there, take me on the journey from there. What was next?
What was next?
Gridiron Challenge.
Yeah.
Fall.
Oh yeah. Gridiron Challenge. So so that was June. We had that event in June.
Okay.
And then September. So at this point, our Facebook group was a couple thousand people, maybe. Maybe at that point we had grown to like maybe 2,000 at the most.
And how many ladies have right now?
20,000.
20,000.
Yeah, just shy. We're a little shy of 20,000.
And
But
I want people
by
to
the
hear
time
this
this
too.
airs, it's going to be 20,000. So we're
Right.
just
I want people to hear this though too. You haven't broke the bank on marketing dollars spent running ads. I mean,
Organic.
you're an
Yeah.
organic organization, essentially. So hear that, you guys. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, that's good. So June was the event. Then in September, we were like, we need to like figure out something for accountability. We want to do this fun thing. And it was football season. So we did the Grit with a T Iron Challenge, like a playoff of football. And we were like, we're going to create this contest. And we're going to basically measure people's activities the same way you would fantasy football, right? So like if you had a listing appointment or a closing, you got 6 points. If you did all these other things, and we just assigned points to things. And of course, when we released it, we had our own Girls with Grit jerseys made, right? Pink football jerseys, because that's how we do things.
Hi, Black.
I know, I got my shoes. I'm
Yeah.
wearing my shoes to the gym today.
Good.
Yep.
Good.
Yeah, I remember because that was after the Tony Robbins event that we went to. We launched that. I had 104 fever when we launched that because I finally caught COVID, dang it. But I
Oh,
showed
yeah.
up. I was
You
ready.
did. Yeah, you did.
Probably with COVID, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah. So we charged like,
No
It's
edit.
yeah,
No
no.
edit. I don't care.
Oh yeah, no,
It's
it's
fine.
fine. We charged $50 to participate in the challenge. John, it was a 12-week challenge. We did 12 weeks for $50. 12 weeks of
No.
coaching.
For
We didn't
free.
even get $50.
We
Well, no,
did it for
remember
free.
there was the buy-in. So it was
We
like
did it.
$50.
Yeah, it was a $50 buy-in, John. It was a $50 buy-in for all the girls, and we capped it at like 200 because we wanted to divvy up so that we had like teams, right?
Okay.
$50 buy-in, but we did not keep a penny of that. So we worked for free for 12 weeks with content and templates and deliverables because that money went to the pot that the top 3 winners got at the end of this.
How many people participated in that?
We capped
200.
it at 200.
And and that was at a time we had no plans of a coaching program. So when we say
Oh, really?
No.
You guys
No.
you're still just have
No.
fun, contribute. But here's what I want everyone to hear.
Contribute.
Ready? Underneath this, you guys, I need you all to hear this, is that there wasn't this big budget, pro forma, massive business plan. There was spirit and values and mission underneath it to support women, to give women permission to come forward, to
Yeah.
contribute to the lives of women in business and impact their lives. You need to hear this. This isn't something of where's the money, where's the money. So
No.
I want people to hear that. So anyways, go ahead.
Well, that's the end of the story. Like literally we worked for 12
Yeah.
weeks for free. We gave them look, John, talking about like not having money and it not being about the money. Like literally, this is how low budget we were at that point in time. Like our background at our first event, we fully intended to have like open house style feather flags that were branded as our background. Like that's the budget that we had for that event.
No.
Like we were scared shitless. Like that was a sponsor thing too. It was supposed to be a sponsor paid for thing.
Free.
Yes.
Free.
Low, but and so funny because all of your fans, your people, your community, them hearing low budget right now, that is just pure humor and comedy.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
but
did that come from you later? But you
we
did
still
what you
tell that
had to
story
do.
on stage today though, John. And the reason that we do it is like, we could sit back and we could be like embarrassed about that, or like be like, oh gosh, like that's embarrassing that we even thought to do that. But the moral of the story is this, is that you start wherever you start, right? You just have to go. You have to take the step. You can't be worried about like, is it perfect? Is it going to work? Is it, like all these things, like what does it look like from the outside? Like if you are on a mission and you know exactly what your purpose is, all of that doesn't matter anymore. You know what? We could have showed up at that event with no anything, no flag, nothing. And those girls would have loved it because it was about them, right? It wasn't about us. Now things are like a little different with the production level, obviously, but like
Unreal.
you can't like, there's a difference between like fake it till you make it and like be before you become.
Mhm, mhm.
Mhm.
Right. There you go. That's vision. Who or what you're going to be, stated
Yeah.
in present tense. When do you feel that you were and you are? I mean, and being at your event in Nashville a couple of weeks ago too. I mean, just in the conversations, the things that you brought up the most to me inside conversations that we would have is lives being impacted. I mean, it'd always be about, a woman came to this last one and shared this, John, and shared this and shared this. So that's just not some big marketing words that you guys are leveraging. It's truly who you are. When do you feel that you really got serious about it? And what I mean is that hey, this is really a business. When do you think that switch flipped for you and said, "Oh boy, here we go"?
Well, I think we stepped out in faith to be like, well, let's freaking do this and see what happens. What's the worst that can happen? Right after Gridiron Challenge, we said they're begging for it, they're asking for it, they want us to put together a coaching program for them. So why don't we? Like, why not us?
Mhm.
Right? Like, this doesn't exist. There's not a special community and program specific to women. So God's calling us to this. We can't fail. Like, we just have to show up. And you can't fail if you don't quit. So that's what we did. And we showed up, and brick by brick, layer by layer, we've just built it. And so that was January of
22.
2022.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but those girls, I mean, that first group of girls was the girls out of that Gridiron Challenge. And, like I said, we weren't planning on launching a coaching program at that time. So that 12 weeks worth of content, that was our best stuff. Like that was what we were actually using in our business to move the needle. Two ladies that, and you got to remember, because of our organic growth, the majority of our audience at that time was in our local market because that's who knew us on social media. That's who. And so we're like, here you go. This is how we're successful, right? And then, so we gave them the playbook because it's all we knew how to do. And then when they're like, build a coaching program, we're like, listen, girls, we've never done this before. Like, we'll say yes, but you got to come alongside us. And they knew that we were building it as we were pushing them through, because that's just how it worked. And they were, we've tried to honor that with them. They're now in their third year. Those are our alumni girls. And they took a chance and invested money when they didn't know what was going to happen. So it's been really cool to like have them come on the journey with us.
Let me point something out for everyone. That when you have a purpose and a foundation, as these ladies do, a mission to me is something that I call it that they're mission based, and it's something that serves the greater good. And I can say it just genuinely because I know them well. Mission based. And if you just show up as you're hearing these ladies have, okay, but they didn't quit, okay, your customer will tell you what you need to do next.
Yeah, exactly.
I think something that's really important for people to understand too at this point though, John, was like, yes, we had this group that wanted us to do the coaching program, and there was 40 of them, I think, at that point in time. But for every single one of them, there was 40 other people that were like, who are these girls? Like, hey girling around, and like, who do they think they are? And literally some of the people that were closest to us at that time and that we respected most from a professional standpoint were literally telling us, what are you guys doing? Like, you guys are wasting your time. You're off course. You've gone the wrong direction. You guys are off the rails. Like, bring it back. Come back to earth.
Still are.
Ladies. I mean, we are. But like, I don't know if I would say, I would think Jamie and Lauren would think this, but I would really say it wasn't until this year, so 3 years later, that we finally feel like people are starting to like get it and actually encouraging us to move in this direction, as opposed to telling us all the reasons that we shouldn't. And so I think that that's just important, because you're not always going to have a bunch of people around you telling you, like, this is what you should do. Yeah, go for it. That's going to be awesome. Like, what a great idea. And sometimes you just have to feel it in your soul that this is the right thing to do, and against everybody else's recommendation, be like, no, you know what? I know this is where we need to be.
Let me ask you this real quick. Do you ladies think it might have been their own projections of self-doubt? I mean, you think about what you've done. You ladies are creating a situation, encouraging and creating a borrowed belief for women to raise their hand.
Yeah.
And
I think it could.
do you think some of it was their own projection?
I think some of it was. I think another piece of it was like, Girls with Grit, like, they're fun. It's hot pink. It's got to be a joke, because it's not like anything that we've ever seen in the real estate space.
Yeah.
Different. And it still is different, and will always be different, because that's just what we want to, that's just how we want our brand to be. We want it to be like inviting. They were probably like Girls with Grit, and they play like 90s rap and have like, like it's not your typical real estate professional group, right? But
right.
Let
Let me go here because I want to go a little bit deeper with each one of you, and ask each one of you so people can hear this. Jamie, if you're saying, here is my superpower that I bring to the group, what would you say your superpower is, Jamie, that you bring to the Girls with Grit?
It's funny you're asking me this, because after the event and people got to hear you on our stage, I've had so many girls come up to me or DM me and say, you're like a mini Cheplak in a woman's body. I smack them with the truth when they don't want to hear it, but they need to hear it. I'm so straightforward. I live in integrity, and I have my little Jamie-isms that I say that they remember, and it encourages them. I think that's kind of something that I bring to the table. That's different than Lauren.
Really
and Tara.
good. Lauren, what's your superpower you feel you bring?
Oh, well, I mean, I definitely have a marketing brain. I think we all three thrive in that space, which has been a thing that's thrust us forward. I feel like I have and not that they don't, so don't hear me wrong. They do, but I have an ability to be a little more empathetic and like put myself in that.
Oh, these girls are steamrollers.
Yeah.
So you said they're the steamrollers, they're the motorboaters?
But listen, they have huge hearts, but I'm the one that can put myself back in the agent position, I think, a little bit quicker and like see all sides quicker. So it's a great balance, because they push me in that way and I can pull them, and it's a whole thing. So I think that's definitely something that I bring to the table that's beneficial for the group as a whole.
It's really good. I love it. Tara, how about you?
Lauren's the fun committee for sure.
Oh,
Like,
I am the fun
to
committee.
me and
she is?
Jamie, it would just be like 110% all the time. Go, go, go. So she's definitely that. I think for me, first of all, my favorite text to send to these girls is, I have an idea, with a light bulb. And then they're like, oh, what are we going to do now? Like, what are we doing? What are we signing up for? Because they already
New number. Yes.
But I think, like, for me, I do a lot of our content creation, and it's not like basically our process is like, we have an idea, we'll come up with, what does the framework for that look like? What do we want to include in it? And I do like the slides, the graphics, like all of that brand stuff. Like, to this day, I still do like 90% of that. Like all the stuff you see at conference, all our workbooks. And so I guess that's kind of like my superpower, is taking like the framework and turning it into like the actual materials that we use to teach, really. And truly, I think that the girls really appreciate that it is so put together. Does that make sense? Like, you can have a lot of people have great ideas, but if you can't like actually communicate them well and give somebody like a takeaway, it just doesn't work, right? And that's really like, that's another reason that like we just know that this is a God ordained, or God ordained, because like we each, like, how else in the world do three girls from like completely across the country come together and just happen to have like these things that work together so well?
Yeah, just wild, wild, wild. Well, and the one thing that you do well, and I know because I got to walk in the hotel, go up the escalator, come in around the room, and you create an experience. You guys create an experience, and people want that. What would I'll go to each one of you one at a time. What are the things, and I'm sure there'll probably be crossover, and and I know, sure, this is you're supporting people's businesses. You gave out awards for people that are growing their business. By the way, let me be real clear with you, ladies and gentlemen. This isn't just a rah, it's fancy and it's pretty. Let me remind you two things. These three ladies are very productive in their individual businesses. They don't need to do the coaching business. And they're very, very productive in business minds and growing this business. What do you hear, or what do you hear from the women that, what are some of the things that you get to hear from women in their business and their personal lives? Well, certainly we always respect confidentiality, but you got so many you work with. What do you hear from the women as an impact from the Girls with Grit?
I think more than anything, we hear you guys are teaching us stuff our broker never taught us. Let's just be honest. We hear that time and time again. I think the difference is people want to do better. They want to have a better business. They just don't know how to do it. And it's like, so many people teach this up here stuff. I mean, the three of us have taken coaching where we're like, okay, but how do you actually do that? Like, that sounds great, but how do you actually do it? And so I think from the women's perspective, that's been the thing that's really been a game changer, is not only did you tell me like what to do, but you showed me how to do it and you gave me the tools to do it. And once they have all those things in place, it's like off to the races. And then they start to see the change in their business. And so that's been really cool, because they're like, because I implemented this system, or because I sent this email that you guys give me the actual template for, I'm getting responses on, for lead conversion and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's cool because they're actually able to pinpoint a certain thing that made the change, instead of just being like, well, that was really great and I was inspired. Like, of course we want to do that. But we want to give them ways that they can actually bring more money to their household, and ultimately have more time freedom, whatever their, big goals are.
Good. Jamie, what do you see? What do you hear? And for you, because I think, again, you all serve the mission, right? And the vision of the organization, but each one of you have your drivers too. What do you hear that fills you personally, Jamie, and in what you do every day, and both personally and professionally, from the ladies that you guys get to lead?
I think we hear often, especially at our events, obviously big decisions and big changes happen at big events, right? But let's just talk about like the day to day. Just hearing them say like, you girls literally changed my life because you've given me permission. Not that we give them permission, but that's their words. You've given me permission to be authentic and to be me, and to realize like it's okay to do these things. Like, I want to have a business, but I want to be a mom and I want to be successful, but you've given me the roadmap to do that. And you've given me permission to do those things and to actually change my life and if they have kids, my kids' lives, or my spouse's life. And like, that is the most fulfilling piece about being a coach, is like, yeah, we could rah you all day long. I could yell at you in your face all day long if you want. But for them to hear like, this is stuff that actually works, and knowing like it wasn't a fluke, that we have something special, the three of us together, to bring to the table for them. And as they implement, it changes their life. Like, that to me, there's no amount of money that I could ever earn to replace that feeling.
It's awesome. Tara.
So this is so funny because these answers are like so indicative of our personalities individually. And so I'm just gonna like roll right into it because I'm the nerd, right? Like I'm the data girl. And so like I like measurable change. And so what I see in our girls, even though it's not necessarily always the thing that they're like putting out there, but like we looked at the data and like over like 10% of our coaching students are $750,000 plus individual annual GCI earners. Now,
Say that again. I want to hear that again. What's that?
10%, over 10% of our group of our coaching students are earning over $750,000 a year in GCI as individual agents.
Wow.
50% of our year one students doubled their business in 2023 in a market where the market was down 40%.
Yeah.
And so like, I love hearing the stories about like how you changed your life and stuff, but like, man, it lights me on fire to know like money's not everything, but it certainly gives us a lot of freedom and choice. And it helps us get closer to what our goals are. And so to see these girls, like we had a girl on our call yesterday and she's like, this is the first time I've been in business 10 years. I've been doing this full time for 6 years. And I'm going to have my first $100,000 GCI month in the month of May. And like that stuff gives me chills. We have girls that like came to our first event 2 years ago, and she now owns 40 investment properties because she was inspired at one of our events to take that leap and just go out there and do it. I mean, there's just like, there's so many stories. But it's awesome to see like this. I mean, it really works. Like these girls are changing their businesses and their lives. And it's going from like, oh, I'm like a realtor to like, I'm a freaking CEO. You know what I mean? Like I'm going to run my business like it.
I want to encapsulate what I'm hearing here, and it's neat as much as we get to chat. You know, I get to selfishly, I get to learn more. This is very interesting, ladies and gentlemen, because we've always heard about our ideal customer and our avatar, and typically it's in an income range. And we're hearing that they're impacting businesses. They're giving proven, tested strategies and tactics that deliver measurable results. But here's what's very interesting. I want y'all to hear. They're talking about a group of people that are earning 750,000 and above that are in their group. And then watch this. Here's where I'm going to chime in. There were 500 plus women in the room in Nashville, and I know where I'm going to go when I speak, but I always want to meet the audience where they're at. And ladies, tell me if I'm off on this, because it was really impressive to me. And it tells me that what you are doing is like literally, I mean, you remember, I get emotional now. I mean, when I went up there, you know, just the emotion, you could feel it in the room. Ladies, did half of that room raise their hand saying they wanted to make their first 100,000?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, here's what y'all need to
40%.
hear. Here's what I need you guys to hear, and why I want you to, because my job is to bring people forward that can impact lives. These ladies are out there doing their thing, but I want you all to hear this and watch them and follow them and see what they're doing. People talk about building community. Typically we go in, and I've gone all in my career, it's been an income level, top team leaders. That's what I've focused on. But here's the thing, what these ladies have demonstrated, they've gone deeper. They've gone deeper. Sure, it's women, but guess what? You've got women that make X and Y and Z, but they've created this community. You've got people that are making that type of money. But here's the thing that you guys have done, and I want people to hear this. If you're sitting out there thinking that you need to make more money before you go invest in coaching, well, ladies and gentlemen, I watched 250 women raise their hand in their event that spent at least, I'm going to say, 2,000 or 2,500 bucks, maybe more. You know, maybe someone got to drive there and drive home. Okay, they spent less, but it was 500 bucks plus just to get in the room. And I think, what did your prices elevate up to? There were different price levels, right?
1,500.
1,500 bucks. But here's the point that I want. There's a couple things I want you guys to hear. And not do what I said I wouldn't do. I said too many interviewers, hosts take over. But I want to make this point about what they're doing so that you can watch and see and go experience it. But also those of you that are wondering, many people don't step up because of their self-worth. Well, I don't belong in the room. I'm not ready for the room. These ladies weren't ready for coaching. These ladies had no idea what they were doing, and now they're impacting thousands of lives. How about if you're sitting here and you're watching this and gosh, I don't have the money. You can find a way. We can all find a way. Just get in the rooms. And I just want to compliment you ladies for truly, it's easy to say that we're here to impact women's lives. And it's easy to say that we're here to give a borrowed belief, Jamie, you know, that permission. You are given permission. You're giving people that, okay, it's okay to do this. These are the rooms that you need to step into, because I watch, it was remarkable. I just went, whoa, because here's the one thing, it's all the same. It's just someone has implemented more consistently over a longer period of time and people quit. I want to do this because I want people to hear, Jamie, talk to me about, I want everyone to know, what are the different offerings that you guys have for ladies in business, whether it's your courses and your events and all of that. Can you break all that down for me?
Yeah, so we just had our annual event. We do that once a year. That was in Nashville. It's not always in the same location. This was the second time we've done Nashville for our big event. That was the fourth event that we've done in 3 years, essentially. So we have our big event every year. We actually have a free Facebook group, and we do free like mini tidbit coaching every single Monday that we stream live into that group, like 20-30 minute sessions every single Monday. So again, this is from the spirit of contribution. They don't ever have to pay us a dime just to level up their lives. And we stay very true to that. Like, we will always continue to do that and offer that. So, and that's Girls Are Great Collective on Facebook. Again, there's almost 20,000 women in there. So that's something that we will always do. And then our core piece, obviously, is our coaching program. And right now, I think we have 265 or 70 ladies in that program. And again, that's about roughly $10,000 investment for a 12-month.
It's a 1-year program, right?
Mhm.
Yep, it's a 1-year program, about 10 grand.
Okay.
And then we also have, if that's not something that you're able to do yet, and we understand that, right? It's an investment. Not everyone has that, especially when they're first starting out. So we want to meet them where they're at. The other piece of it is we have our monthly marketing membership called Momentum. You got to see a little bit behind that curtain when we were able to, you invited us to speak on your stage. So we talked a little bit about what that looks like and, you know, sphere of influence marketing and how to do that. And that's our monthly marketing membership. It's $67 a month for one license. And that basically gives them everything: copy and paste emails, copy and paste text messages, quarterly newsletter that they can literally rip off, deploy. There is, Tara always does the design work for the featured event of the month, including all of the Canvas stuff. So it's like ready to roll. They just have to brand it to themselves. What else? Postcards, featured pop buys and links on where to buy everything for that. So literally we're laying it out for them on a silver platter that if you just freaking do the work, you will be successful, but you have to do the work. So that's another piece of it, is our monthly membership. And then we have lots of little one-off products, right? Like, we've coached with you, John, and you've kind of inspired us and mentored us through that of like, look, meet these girls where they're at, like give them something else of substance. So we've done lots of different master classes. So, and there's like a buyer masterclass, a listing masterclass. It's everything from point A to Z of like, if you're even brand new to real estate and you've never had a listing before, like every single step in the process, every single email template, every single text, every single marketing client facing deliverable, like surprise and delights, like literally everything from the time you get a lead till closing and nurturing that relationship. So I think that's been the biggest impact for a lot of women, is utilizing the listing masterclass and the buyer masterclass. And then we've done a lot of other one-off things too. So we have a lot of offerings. It's been fun.
It's beautiful. Let me wrap with this, and we got to do this again. I can always hang out with you ladies all the time. I'll bring Brittany. I should be Brittany on. We'll all hang out sometime.
It'll be fun.
Okay.
I just sit back and spectate though, because I wouldn't get anything. What is and this question just came to my heart. and you all know I say it from a real supportive place, each one of you, what's one thing you would say to a woman that might be listening to this that knows in her heart, you know what, I need to find some grit in me? What would each one of you say? What is one thing that you would say?
Well, I'll start with this, and I want them to hear my heart. And I say this all the time, hear my heart on this, because sometimes I'm like so direct like you, John, that I don't want it to come across.
We're
The
brother and
three of
sister,
us,
I think.
yeah, hear my heart that like, because you see the four of us right here on this podcast right now, and that we're all very successful people. We all started from the freaking bottom. We all have our challenges and our struggles that we've been through. Like, John, you're very public about your struggles. The three of us shared on our stage last year, not this most recent event, but shared our struggles and our stories. And the girls were like, wow, you're more real to me now that you're like a real person. You started from the bottom where I'm at right now. And if you can do it, I can do it. And I'm just going to sit here and tell you, you're worthy and you can do it. You just have to make the decision to get out of your own freaking way and do the damn thing. And that is my one liner. And these girls always say it, is just do the damn thing and realize you can do this, but you have to put in the work and you are worthy of it. You have to believe in yourself that you can do it.
Lauren?
Yeah, I would say, as you like hit these different levels of success, right? To just understand that struggle like never goes away. Like just that feeling of being like, can I do this? Do people even care? Am I like to kind of piggyback off what Jamie says, like just because you have had success doesn't mean you're going to wake up every single day and feel like doing it. Because some days you're just like, I just need a minute. I just need a reset. I just need to like take a step back a second and just breathe, because sometimes we're running so fast, and that can be the same thing for people in their real estate business. So like just giving yourself permission to do that. It doesn't mean you're throwing in the towel. It doesn't mean you're giving up, but like just realize you're still going to have that as you continue to grow. So just like take a minute, get a breather, just don't quit, like Jamie said, and just continue to show up. So that would be my biggest advice, because I think sometimes people look at, you know, people that are successful in our industry and think they don't have those days, and we all still do. So
Awesome. Tara, we'll wrap with you.
Oh goodness. They already said all the good stuff, but
I know.
right.
No, so watch it. You're right, Jamie, and Lauren, you're right.
I know, right? You know, a couple things. Number one is, especially like in real estate, right? Like we're all in this industry. And I think that don't overlook the opportunity that we have in this industry. I mean, the ability to literally change your life, change other people's lives. You know, it doesn't matter if you have a PhD or a GED, like literally we're all on the same playing field in this industry, which is really, really unique. And then the second piece of it is you have to have the ability to embrace discomfort. Like don't have this relationship with discomfort. Understand that the more time that you spend in a state of discomfort will allow you to progress faster. Because, you know, when we're comfortable, yeah, it feels good, but you're probably not going anywhere, right? And anywhere where it's going is going to take a little bit of discomfort, a little bit of fear. Imposter syndrome is totally normal. And if you're not feeling it, you're not in the right room, because that's where we grow, is in discomfort. And so try to change your relationship with that, I think.
It's awesome. You ladies are amazing. It's been so fun to watch and then experience it firsthand. And I just want as many women as possible to be impacted and have an experience with you. Where's the best place for people to go to find you, ladies? Girlswithgrit.com?
Girlswithgrit.com, or just come straight to the Facebook group and hang out with us, right?
What is the public Facebook group?
Girls with Grit Collective is the Facebook group. Make sure you go to the group, because that's where all the good stuff happens. But yeah, that's probably the best place.
Awesome. I appreciate y'all. Thank you so much.
thank you, John.
Thank you, John.